It's been a pretty wild week for you.
Yeah, I mean, are people getting arrested? One of our young women were held over for bail. I spent a couple of overnights in jail, and so yeah, no, it's been continuation of.
You were held
that.
this week.
No. Some of the one of the young women from our group here, our community, have been was held over for bail for a couple of days, and so yeah, it's been
which is weird because it's usually ROR or with conditions, right?
Mm-hmm. It is, and so it's been trying, to say the least. We've had OPP sitting at both the front of the camp and at the rear, watching the comings and goings, and again trying to catch our people. Cops have said that they have a warrant for myself and for several other people here, and so wanting them to for us to turn ourselves in or risk being pulled over and caught and traumatizing our kids and our families, and it's been a tumultuous week, to say the least.
I'm really sorry to hear that, by the way. I can only imagine like the stress that it's put on you, the anxiety, and the same with your family, which is probably even greater for them.
So yeah, the Haldimand Police Board issued a pretty provocative statement this week, saying that they want to see an escalation to the Ipperwash and Oka standoffs. Oka, where women and children were shot at by the Canadian military in a lacrosse arena. Oka, or Ipperwash, where Dudley George was killed for carrying a stick. And so yeah, to see an escalation to that is threatening, to say the least. For one of the board members that are on that police services board, was an ex-OPP brass, and to have him sit on that board and make those same racist comments and ignorant comments.
Was that Bernie Corbett?
Yeah.
And what? Okay.
And as well as two of the two councillors from Haldimand County to come out and put their name to a document such as that calls our people terrorists, that says that peaceful occupation of our lands is somehow terrorism. For folks like myself that have sat here in relative peace and calm, and despite the day that the cops came, like, this has been kumbaya by the fire for 76 days, aside from the couple hours when the cops came in here shooting and tasering and dragging my brother's face along the pavement. Like, those were the only moments of violence that were ever committed here, and they were committed by the OPP.
Is the timing because of that report? Is the timing because it was after the Orange Shirt Day? Is it because you have an action coming up?
Well, Orange Shirt Day, like, this is a day to celebrate reconciliation, to be able to come together as not just Native communities, but across the country, to be able to say that we recognize the injustices that have been done towards Indigenous people, and to start doing this the day of Orange Shirt Day, mm-hmm. and start arresting and jailing people and dragging people through the court process who are simply standing up for those past injustices. Like, until the mid-60s was when we could finally hire a lawyer to defend us.
Yeah.
And so, you know what, like, these are the injustices that our people have had to live through and try to find some semblance of life. To be able to live and grow as a community. Like, this, and so now, in this, like, kind of post-truth and reconciliation era that we are in, where these nation-to-nation relationships are at the forefront of your government's mind, it's frightening to see the courts and the courts and the police using strong arm tactics and arrests and jailing to settle land claims, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
When you drag enough of our people off the land, when you put enough of us behind bars, when you put enough of us under the weight of these heavy bail and release conditions that prevent us from being able to come and stand on the land and honor those obligations that we have to our law. Once you've done all of those things to our people, there's nobody left to stand for the land. There's nobody left to fight for it. And you know what? This is not what reconciliation looks like. Reconciliation is coming to the table with an honest and open mind, being able to have those nation-to-nation relationships that our people fought and died for this country to be here. And so when this OPP and RCMP before that, the Brits before that have done everything in their power to divide our community, to make this what it is now, is absolutely ridiculous. And we need to be able to say and stand together to be able to make these efforts to make sure that our voices are heard.
So in that report that you referenced earlier, written by Bernie Corbett, where do you think those comments are coming from? Like, what's motivating him to say that?
You know what? I really, really hope that it's just coming from a place of ignorance.
Okay.
If they just don't know the history of this plot of land here that was squatted on in the mid 1800s, that this land was never surrendered. That you know what? If this is if that's what it is, I hope that's what it is.
And if it's not ignorance,
then it's racism. And you know what? Where I come from and my family and who I am as a Mohawk man, if that's what offends him, then that's where that worries me. You know, and when I hear my wife and my kids cry to me about, well, they want to see you get shot, Dad. Yeah. They want to see that escalation.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that's true that they want to escalate it to that point?
I really hope not.
Okay.
I really hope not. Because this is something that certainly my kids, certainly my wife have shown much sadness and much fear for their husband, their father.
Are the Indigenous community across Canada, not just here, but like everywhere, do you think they're over-policed?
I mean, there's the over-incarceration of Indigenous people has been well documented. There are paper after paper that document our plight in that regard, because we make up 3% of the population of this country. 3%. And you go to any prison across the country, we'll make up anywhere from a quarter to a third. 25 to 30% of every single person that's in jail has some Indigenous background. And so to say that we are over-policed is the understatement of the century. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Is there any message that isn't being told that you want to say besides what you've already said? Because I'm gonna publish this unedited. So
that our people have sat here and for 76 days as of today. We have been quiet and peaceful. We have maintained that and have gone out of our way to make sure that this place stays quiet and peaceful. And to see our people dragged away from here, shot at, tasered, beaten, and even in the shadow of that, we still came back here and maintained that peace, maintained that calm, maintained our non-violent stance. And so no matter what happens, there's nothing that the police can do, there's nothing that the courts can do that are going to dissuade people like myself that are going to say that the inherent right of my great grandkids to this land means nothing to me. because that is something, that is a conversation with my grandkids and my great-grandkids that I will never have. That I will never say that I didn't try and fight for the land for you, because you have every right to this. And so if we do nothing right now, our kids won't even have anything to argue over, because we will be nothing but a postage stamp.
They'll just keep scaling back.
And we'll be a postage stamp in the middle of southern Ontario, and that is it.
And the last question, because I don't want to steal too much of your time, it's dinner time. So again, going back to Bernie Corbett, I don't like to give him as much attention as he doesn't deserve any real attention. But he did say what you guys were doing was terroristic.
Absolutely. No, he didn't say that it was terroristic. He said that these Aboriginal people aren't Aboriginal protesters, they are terrorists.
Yeah.
By definition, they are terrorists. And this is the national pride of our people, standing up for our nation, being who we are as Haudenosaunee people. We have an obligation to be here. We have an obligation to this land and to our people. And so when we make a stand such as this is us saying no. This is what no looks like. And so we aren't going to sit back and abide the development of our lands anymore.
And you're going to keep saying no.
And we are going to continue to say no.
And you want more
Absolutely.
people to say no, both
Absolutely.
allies and First
Absolutely.
Nations.
Indigenous and non-Indigenous alike, respecting that two-row relationship between ourselves and our settler allies is something that for us is that relationship that we had, that nation-to-nation relationship, is one of counsel and one of peace. And that's something that our people have maintained for the last 500 years since settlers washed up on our shores. And so that is something that we are going to maintain.
All right, thank you.
Right on.